What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can improve their violent hip drop at the top of the route and how you guys can run more violent routes and change direction a lot faster. So we're going to be showing two examples here of a comeback and a curl route. So these are two 45-degree angle routes. We're going to be showing a bad example first and some of the common mistakes that wide receivers make, which will make them lose speed at the top of the route, and then a good example where a wide receiver is able to snap down with a lot of explosion. So I hope this video helps you guys out. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to come train with us this offseason, we are traveling out to 5 different locations across the U.S. for 2-day-long wide receiver and QB training camp. So check out that very first link in the description for our travel list. We're going to be coming out to Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So again, if you guys are local to one of those areas or would like to travel out, 2 days of training and 4 hours each day, so 8 hours of work, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have some of you guys out to one of our camps. Let's get started with this video. So first things first here, the main thing I want to discuss that was going to help you guys snap down, help you guys be more violent at the top of the route is your foot strike. So let's play this thing full speed. So this wide receiver, it kind of looks, I would take this more as like a comeback, but he just kind of rounds this thing and it looks a whole lot like an out route just based off of how much his body is turning. But again, whether it's an out route or whether it is a comeback route, I don't like snapping down on an out route, but the same principle still applies because we have to get low to change direction, right? So when you guys snap down, if you guys strike the ground with your heel first, you see how this wide receiver, you see how his toe is pointed up and his heel is striking the ground. You cannot create energy off of that step, right? So like when you guys walk, yeah, you want to be heel toe. But when you guys strike the ground and you're trying to make a change of direction, you cannot strike on your heel because when you guys are running with some speed up into the route, that's obviously the main goal, right? If you're familiar with this page, you've probably heard me talk a lot about on routes or just if you're a receiver in general, no matter if it's a 5-yard hitch or a 15-yard comeback, you have to sell vertical. And how you guys can sell vertical is by running hard, running full speed, and running in full stride, right? So if you guys have that, if you guys have that speed going up into the break, and then you guys are trying to strike the ground at a high speed, but you go heel toe, all of your energy is going to shoot upward, right? And obviously we want to be able to create energy, get low, be violent with my hips, have that sudden drop of my hips, and then be able to explode out of the break, right? Whether it's a 90-degree or whether it's a 45. But if I go heel first, all my energy shoots up, right? Because you physically cannot get low. Like if you're doing squats in the gym, you're not on your heels squatting down. You're going to fall back. You're going to be off balance. So we have to make sure when I strike the ground, and we're going to show an example of this in a second, I have to be striking the ground on my arch, right? So that arch is like that middle part of your foot. Now, another thing that you don't want to be on is your tippy toes. A lot of people say that, oh, you want to be on your toes, you want to chop your feet at the top of the break, AKA beat the drum. The only thing that's going to do is if you have speed into the break and you try to cut on a dime on your tippy toes, you're going to do the opposite. Instead of shooting up, you're going to fall forward because you're not going to have any balance. So we have to make sure that I'm not striking my ground or striking the ground on my heels. Now, second mistake with this, which is why he had this snap and then he drifted off of it a lot, is because he didn't get low enough, right? So we talk a lot about having that violent hip drop. Now, a lot of wide receivers like to step really hard, right? So he steps really hard. He has that trigger step, if you will, incorrect foot strike. But if you don't drop your pad level, there is really no point. The whole point of you guys running into a route and having that like aggressive snap down step right here is to be able to drop your weight violently and to get low enough to create energy to shoot you out of the break, because that energy that you create leads to acceleration, which is how you widen the distance from a DB. Now, if you don't get low enough and you guys are trying to snap down, there's really no point. You're basically just doing a speed cut at that point. So this wide receiver, you see when he makes this break, and not to bag on this guy because this is a lot of receivers' problems. Every single state that we travel to has a few guys that will run the route like this, and they'll drop down, but their chest stays straight up. The phrase that I like to say is you want to try to bring your chin to your knee, and you want to do that as quickly as possible. Almost pretend like there is a string attached to your chin and somebody is pulling the string down as quick as possible, because that drop of your hips, trust me, when you're snapping down and when you're getting low enough, that creates so much dang energy and it allows you to make a tight change of direction. Now we're going to show an example of that, okay? So let's play this thing full speed. So just make sure, fellas, when we are running routes, I'm not striking on my heel and I'm bringing my chin to my knee to get that violent snap down to create explosion, okay? So let's play it full speed. Again, make sure, not heel toe. I don't want my weight to pop up and I have to bring my chin to my knee. So now this is going to be like a curl route. Same trigger step though, same kind of hip drop, same 45-degree ankle break, okay? So let's play it full speed. So he comes off here off the line, pushes vertical, snaps right now. And you see how low he's able to get and where he is striking the ground. You see how when he strikes the ground, I know it's kind of blurry right there, but it's arch of the foot. His arch of the foot is hitting the ground because that arch is an explosive position and you guys can actually get low on that step. Your energy is not falling forward and your energy is not shooting straight up in the air. You are going straight down. Like if you guys were doing, for example, like lunges in the gym or like split squats or just regular squats, where's your weight going to be distributed? On that middle part of your foot because that's where the balance comes from and that's where you want to stay, okay? So that's the number one thing to help you guys get that snap down. Strike the ground correctly. It's got to be sudden, but you have to be quick. Now, watch how low he gets with his upper half, right? Watch where his chin goes. Chin goes straight to the knee, and it's a quick drop of his chin. This is how low we have to be able to get. When you run routes, you want to think of it like running a 40-yard dash. When you're running a 40-yard dash, you do not stand up and run as hard as you can. You drive for 10 yards. They call it the drive phase, right? A lot of guys, if they run track, they're a little bit familiar with that. That 10 yards where you're driving out, you're trying to create as much explosion and as much power as possible. And to do that, you have to stay low. So at the top of a route like this, like a curl you're running back inside, a comeback, a dig where you have to snap down, you have to get to a low spot and try to be as powerful as possible with your feet because now I'm staying low to make a tight change of direction, but also me being low creates power and explosion so I could get to that acceleration phase, which is also could be like similar, again, a 40-yard dash, that last 30 yards where you're trying to stand up and hit that top speed. And that top speed out of the break is what widens you from the DB. So to get that more violent break point, to get that snap down, as we all like to say, focus on, fellas, when you snap down, because I think everybody knows how to do that, it's stepping really hard. You got to make sure that you drop your hips actually, you bring your chin to your knee, and you're striking your ground on the arch of that foot. So now one more thing is like, how do you know when to snap down, right? So when you're training, a lot of people will have a like a cone out there, right? For example, like, so they'll set up and let's say it's like a 12-yard curl. They'll have a cone at 12 yards and the receiver's supposed to snap down at 12, get around the cone and come back to 10. Now that's fine, but you don't want to think about just running up to a cone because in a real game, like against man coverage, maybe that's one thing, but against zone or like off man, every single route is going to be off the steps. So how I recommend you improve this and improve on striking the ground correctly, having speed going into the break is run your routes off of steps. Like if you're going routes versus air, instead of setting up a cone, have no cone and go off of like your fourth outside step. So you line up, you take your outside foot, that's 1. Inside, that's 2. Inside 3, inside 4. And right on that fourth step, that's when you snap down. That's when you have that trigger step. And it just works on you breaking a little bit more in full stride. When guys set up the cone out there, they love to run up super hard, then they chop down, then they snap down. That's not realistic, and that's not what's going to get you open. Focus on striking the ground in stride, but on the arch, pulling that string from chin to knee and getting low enough to explode out. That's how you guys can get a more violent break point at the top of the route. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by this receiver selling vertical, snapping down with the correct foot strike and bringing that chin to knee to make a tight change of direction, but also an explosive change of direction. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. This video was done by request. So if you guys have any other video suggestions, things that you guys would like to see, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. And again, fellas, if you're local to one of the 5 states that we were traveling out to, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California, we'd love to have you out to one of our off-season training camps. Check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.